All right, thanks all for tuning in. This is going to be a really rough cut, really rough demo of software I call Drillbridge. Drillbridge is meant to bridge the gap between Essbase cubes and relational data sources. Piggybacks off existing functionality that Oracle implemented in Essbase that allows them to drill from a cube to any arbitrary URL. So usually they intend for that URL to be one of their own products, but we can actually put our own in that'll drill through to whatever we want. In this case, the Drillbridge software is implemented in Java, and as such, it can connect to anything that Java can connect to, primarily and typically through the JDBC connectivity options, which means we can very easily connect to Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL, or whatever else, as long as we can come up with some sort of mapping to go from the members, the member data in the cube to the relational table. So this kind of is a turnkey solution that we can drop in, and in the demo I'm going to show in a moment, we've added drill through to the classic sample basic database, and just add a twist. The data coming from sample basic, in other words, the members and the different dimensions do not line up exactly with some relational table somewhere in the company, but we'll actually map so that things line up. So cutting over to this tool here, I'm looking at a MySQL database. It's on the network somewhere, and I've got in the lower right pane here just a kind of a dummied up fact table. The columns are the period, the account, product, market, and the amount. So the market corresponds to data you'd see in the sample basic database, although not the exact name. So we actually need to map in order to get to the data. In this case, the product lines up just fine, although period and account needs some mapping. So what I've done is I've set up some mapping tables. We can look at the accounts. I've mapped this fictitious 0170100 account to the sales member. Similarly for the cost of goods sold. For the markets, I've mapped from the two-letter state name to the full name that we see in the Essbase cube. And similarly in periods, we can go from the numerical period to a three-letter month, which corresponds exactly to members in that cube. So if we come over to this convenience view we've set up, we can see that now we have data that we'll be able to query that corresponds exactly to the members in sample basic that will form the basis of the drill through operation. So now let's cut over to the Drillbridge software itself. So in Drillbridge we set up a connection. In this case I've already done that, so I have just a very simple normal connection. This is a MySQL driver connecting to a local server on my network with a username and password. And that's all we need. We can test it. We see that it works. So now any reports or drill through operations that we want to set up that'll hit this database, we'll just use this connection. So now we set up a report, and a report corresponds to something we would drill to that executes a query. So let's take a look at the sample basic report that I've set up. We give it a name. We select one of the connections we have. We put in a SQL query to execute. Now, this is a normal SQL query, except we've parameterized the values that need to be based on the point of view that was drilled from. So with double curly braces, we put in the year, we put in the measures. This will be replaced with the current member that's being drilled from, then the product and the market in this case, and then this query will be executed against the data source. So we can put in as much or as little as we want in the query in order to get to the data we need to. So this is again how Drillbridge bridges the gap from the cube to the relational data. So anything you can write in a query, taking in the members from the Essbase cube that were drilled from, and then just fire off that query, and whatever you get back will be what shows up in the report. So lastly, we need to deploy that report to a cube, because each cube has a notion of what intersections are drillable. So just real fast for completeness, you can see that we have a list of Essbase servers that I've mapped in, as well as what's called a deployment spec. This is the definition we've created for which members will be drillable. Obviously it's a little truncated right now, so I'm only activating the children of the quarter 1 and quarter 2 members. But that's all we need. So I just come over to the report, hit deploy, choose the spec, choose the cube, hit deploy. Now those drill through definitions using, again, Oracle's built-in functionality have been deployed to the cube, so they're now drillable. So if we cut over to Smart View and we connect to this cube, and in this case I have the formatting set such that anything that's drillable is going to be highlighted in yellow. I'll just look at January. I'll go to the bottom of products for the cola. I'll take New York as my market. Actuals. Sales and cost of goods sold. So here's these two cells that I've decided to activate as being valid for a drill. Now I can double click on sales. The point of view gets passed to Drillbridge. It takes that, puts it into the query, launches the query against the data source, goes out and gets the data, brings it back. Here's the data in that table. And if we look over at all the table data we had that I just, just some sample data that's in there, we can see that the data that came back corresponds exactly to these two rows. So that's really nice. Just as a convenience feature, I mean, we could probably copy and paste this into Excel, but we also have the option to hit this button, and it generates an Excel spreadsheet on the fly with that data for us. So that's pretty handy if we just want to go back into Excel. Last but not least, I won't show this since it's not set up at the moment, although it does work. If we look at reports, go back to our report, we can actually point the drill through report to a particular Essbase connection. And this gets us level 0 drill, which is similar to how Essbase Studio implements drill through. So in other words, if in Studio we can drill on say level 1 member like quarter 1, and it actually executes the query against all the level 0 descendants of that member. So if you drilled on quarter 1, you would actually be doing a query based on January, February, March. That's supported out of the box right now with Drillbridge, and all you have to do is point it to a cube. So then when it executes the query, it'll actually open up the cube, ransack the outline real fast, get all those descendants of the member, and then use those to fill in the query. So you could bring back all of the data you want for the children or the descendants of any upper level member. So that's pretty much it, and thanks for watching.